we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome for the first time to the Electric Vibe podcast. I'm one of three co-hosts. My name is Kurt Hoffman, and the whole team is back, folks. Let's take her away here. Gentlemen, please introduce or reintroduce yourselves to the masses.
Yes, well, you all know that I am Jay David, the Electric Man Silva. Hello, good evening, good to see you, Kurt.
Yes, sir. And who's this handsome gentleman to my bottom right here, clean shaven?
He's back.
Identify yourself, sir.
Harlan Hucky Austin, formerly with the group Crown Heights Affair. You don't know nothing about that, do you, Kurt?
Come on. No. Well, we're gonna find out down the road.
We're gonna learn today. So, hey, Kurt, it's great to have everybody back.
Yes, sir.
Missed you guys. We're here, and for our first episode back together in so long, we are welcoming back our brother, Mr. Morris Hayes, who joined us last year. The majority of you know Mr. Hayes as keyboardist, songwriter, musical director, performer, and all-around nice guy. Many of you will know Morris as one of the longest tenured collaborators working with Prince, but this brother has worked with a who's who in the music business. We're talking about Elton John, Stevie Wonder, Whitney Houston. He produces, arranges, performs, composes, and he is just a good friend of the Electric Vibe podcast. We are very happy to welcome back Mr. Morris Hayes. Morris, how are you?
Hey, everybody. Glad to be here, man. That was quite the setup. I was like, who is it? Like, who did it?
Like, we come correct. Come on, we know how to do it.
I was like, oh my God, who's here? Who's here?
Awesome, Morris, we had a great time with you when you visited us. I think it was last September.
Absolutely.
I can't believe it's been that long already. My goodness.
Is that really September?
I think it was, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, 5-6 months ago. Right. Yeah.
And so now that, we have Hucky with us, we thought we would chop it up a little bit. And
that's
Hucky,
awesome. I've aged a couple of years since then.
Right. We all have, right? Hucky, we're going to let you do the honors, let you start asking the first question. You can take it away.
So, Morris, I just seen you, man, about a month ago, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
In Minneapolis, man. And I didn't get an opportunity to tell you how awesome I thought you guys were. And I know you didn't have a lot of time to be able to, to work together, but this True Musicians, man, you guys sounded great, man. And it was a fun time. I love, even at this age, going to First Avenue. I was telling somebody, I said, it's different now because, when we was younger, you could stand up all day, but I'm like, man, where can I sit down? And there's no seat at First Avenue.
Exactly.
So, but Morris, I wanted to get started, man, because this is something I've known you for years, and I don't think I've ever known the answer to this. How did you get connected to Prince? How did you get connected to the Purple Camp? How did you come to Minneapolis, man?
That's a great question, Huck. First of all, man, I owe a lot of what happened to me with regard to the Minneapolis scene to three people: Craig Rice, Mark Brown, and Levi Caesar. Those were the three people that were the most instrumental in my situation, even coming to Minneapolis. Everybody, when Prince started jumping off in the early 80s, man, I mean, it was like if you were in a band, your band had to play Prince, it had to play the time, and had to, that was just the music of the 80s. I mean, if you were in a band, that's what it was, So needless to say, my band in college, we played Prince, we played, the time and all of this. And so what happened was, and I'm going to try to make it as speedily through this as I can, we got an opening gig with Maserati, with Mark's band, Maserati in Memphis and a couple other spots around San Antonio and a couple of spots. And so we opened for them and another group called Slap Fox and at a show that we did in Memphis. And they thought, wow, this is cool. But before that even happened, back in the 80s, Prince was in town in Memphis. The band I played with at Fingerprint was at this place, Western Frontier, I think it was, the New Daisy one, Western Frontier, I think it was. And after the band got through, Brown and them came and they were like, man, we see a lot of people play our music. and butcher it, but you guys sound like us, you sound like we do. And that was a really big thing with that band Fingerprint, was like they played stuff like the record, man. They just like meticulous about the sounds, and there was a big deal for them to do that. And of course, that's what got them noticed. So fast forward, we do this hit with Maserati when they were just starting out doing their thing. You know, we met Craig Rice and Brown and all of this stuff. They had talked to them before, and then it just kind of culminated in the, hey man, you guys are really dope. Let's do something. And so we came to Minneapolis in like '86 to do a demo with Brown at his house, man, in Eden Prairie. And of course, we the way Brown, you know how it is, Hucky, with the whole Minneapolis scene, man. Brown, we would be working, but that joker didn't even start work until late, and then we work all through the night. And so what we would do is we would go down to the clubs and everything, and just and then when the Slam opened, it was like, bro, that was the move. We go down to the Slam and go to the club, whichever one, Maggie Mays or whatever it was, and just listen to what the vibe was, and then we go back to the Mark studio and then start working like at 2 a.m. Now you're working, you know what I'm saying? Right. And so it was crazy, man. And so being in proximity with Brown, and eventually, what happened is Mark was shooting. I don't know if you remember, Huck. Mark was shooting a music video for his record. Prince had wrote a song for him called "Bang Bang." And they had these big giant legs. And this is when the girl from Batman was like around Kim Basinger. And so we were there shooting a video, and I think Prince asked Craig, like the keyboard dude, is like, can he really play? Like, can he? Yeah, he can play. He can play keys. He's all right. He can do his thing. He's good. And so and then Craig got me a gig, just kind of driving, when Graffiti Bridge was shooting. I was like a production assistant. I had a walkie-talkie. I was driving the van. So any of the talent that was at the hotel, I was driving, like Rosie and George and Mavis and Tevin and all of these people, man, to set. So when they had to be on set for the shoots, whatever they was shooting at Morris's and them set, I had to fill up the van, take whoever was going to be shooting on the set with Morris's club, or at the Lamb Slam scenes. I had to go transport all of those people to those different the scenes for the Glam Slam was at Paisley, but they had other places, other locations set up for like Morris's his club and their stuff. And so I had to transport people back and forth to these places. And what I got to do is, once I got through doing that, I hung around at the studio, with the talent. And there was a Prince, in the little atrium area. They had a TV with the PlayStation hooked up, and Jam and Lewis liked to play the games, and Tevin and everybody like to play the video games while they cats was shooting different scenes. That's the way to kill the time. And so I just got to hang around these cats, man. And what really turned the corner is Levi threw me a bone. They were working on the music for Morris Day and them, and for Shake, and they let me play on that track. He just say, man, you want to play on this? Get a little change, whatever. I said, yeah, man, yeah, bro, like cool, And I did the little thing. And then Mark was like, Levi was like, oh, wow, that's cool. I'm getting ready to do this remix. And then that was my opportunity, man, because he's like, I need to do like a club version of the song. And I had these 2 keyboards, man. I have one that had a sequencer built right into it. Like I could put beats together right in the keyboard. And I was like, well, I do have a beat that may work. And then, bro, he cut the track. And it was bombing, man. We hit that mug, and the next thing you know, Alan Lees, who was working with the record label, was upstairs, and the tracks, of course, everything went upstairs and everything went, and Alan was like, yeah, man, I dug what you was doing with the track or whatever. Now, mind you, all this time, just hanging out with Levi, I would see Prince, but Prince was like, if he don't really know you, it ain't like he just trying to have it ain't like he just was trying to talk to me, and I knew enough to know. Stay out of the way. Don't laugh too loud. Don't be, don't bring attention to yourself. Just chill out and just, be just like, just fly on the wall. Be cool, Right. And so I knew to like get in a corner somewhere and chill, And Prince was cutting jokes. He's doing a thing. And then all of a sudden he just said, oh, nice solo. And I'm just like looking around like you talking to me? Because this dude
Oh
ain't been
man.
saying nothing to me, you know. So all of a sudden he's a nice solo, and I'm just kind of like,
Right.
hey, who me? And he said, you do the solo? I said, yeah. He said, I'm talking to you then. He said, so it's like, so I was like, yeah. And then, man, it was cool. It's like, okay, he checks out. He can jam. He's cool, you know. But still, you know, I knew just be cool. Don't try to get too
Right.
live. Just be cool. And that's what kind of started at least me being able to hang around without getting, you know, Prince tell me Oprah's on and you got to get out, you know, that kind of thing. And you
Yeah.
had to head out. And so that's what opened the door. But so Brown and Craig, you know, Craig made the initial reach out to us, you know, after he talked to Brown about, you know, Maserati was going through a shakeup in like '88. And a dude named Greg Sane and I came from Austin, Texas. We were playing in a band there, and they brought us up to audition, and we got the roles in Maserati for the second Maserati record. But that kind of went under after Motown. Prince did allow us to get off of Paisley. We signed a deal with Motown, but right at that time we signed a deal, Motown got sold to MCA, and the whole infrastructure just changed. All of the people, a lot of the people that was with the company all went away. Gerald Busby took over instead of Barry Gordy. And then that changed out the whole dynamic of our record deal got changed. But I did though get to do the thing, and where's that joker at, man? I don't know where it is, but I got that black and white. It was always a dream of mine, Huck, to be a Motown artist, man. And we signed that deal with Motown, bro. I got that black and white photo that go up in the barbecue joints that like the Temptation just happened to stop at this barbecue. And they got the autographed black and white Motown with that Motown M in the corner. We got to do that for Maserati, man. Black and white picture with the Motown M on it. I was like, man,
Man, that's awesome. And I never knew that story, man. So we really
yeah.
appreciate you sharing. And the thing that's really funny, Morris, is like I want to go back to you, like the first conversation that you had with Prince. I remember mine too, and it was very similar to you. I'm like, you know, chick had went to go grab some food or something. So I'm at the dressing room door, and all
Yeah.
of a sudden, now this dude, I've been here for about 6 months. He never said my name or anything. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm Hucky. Can you? I was like, and I'm like looking around, and Morris, I'm laughing because he did the same thing. He said, "You are Hucky, right?" Yeah, that's me. So, man, I appreciate that. Thanks for sharing. I'm
Man.
just getting here. I don't want to hog the conversation, man.
No, it's all good though.
While we have the two of you, what was the exchange of you two like? When is it the first time did you come into each other's orbit?
Well, I can tell you, like back in the day, man, you know, it was Chicken Huck, man, and it's just like you couldn't get nowhere in proximity
Yeah.
Of Prince with these two cats, man, because they was holding it down. But when I came around, Gilbert had just started, was on detail with you know, Chick had been out, and it was Huck and Gilbert.
Mhm.
And we was in town, man, tracking, cutting with Brown, and we went to the fine line, man.
Oh man.
We went to the fine line, and Prince and Huck and Gil came in, and you know, we was tripping because we like, oh snap, Prince is in here, like, you know. And I think probably for everybody in Minneapolis it wasn't a big deal, but we up from Texas, man, and we just like we didn't see Prince every day, so he's like, oh shit, like, oh man, Prince is in here, bro, and we were like, let's go say what's up, like. Which is funny now as I think about it, because we just thought, yeah, let's go up, man, bro. That ain't the way. And we learned very quickly that ain't it. You don't go up and it just was, hey, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing? We got the brick arm of resistance, like that arm of just went up like that, and you just got that stand up block, you know, and it was like, oh snap. This is the real business right here. These cats don't monkey around, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so that was our first kind of introduction to at least the Minneapolis scene, and Prince being at the club out in the wild, as we say, you know. He's just out there, man, and Huck them doing their thing, man. But that was
okay. So I was trying, you know, when I found out that you was going to be on the show, and the fellows told me that, I was trying to think about the first time I met. And so I think I met G Sharp at a hotel, the Peabody in Memphis. Yep. And I think that we came to a club and you guys was playing. That's what I remember.
That's what it was. But I wasn't with them at the time. I had came a little later. But
Okay.
that's what the band was definitely playing, and that's what the thing was. Y'all had ran into him, and that's where you met him at.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I couldn't remember if I met both you guys at the same time, but I knew
right.
that it was pretty close, man.
Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty close. And then by the time we came up from and right after that, shortly thereafter, we had been playing a lot in Texas, man. And every time we had this situation, bar band, man, we had like a van, we had like a U-Haul and all our equipment, like we had our own sound system and stuff like this. We decided to buy a van because we didn't play in Memphis that much. We played at colleges and we played a lot in Texas. And we had the bright idea. We said, why don't we burning up, 3 transmissions in the van, hauling all this stuff. And
Mhm.
we finally figured out, why don't we just move to Texas? We play there all the time. That's where we make the most money with the colleges and everything.
Sure.
We play on 6th Street a lot, So we like, let's just move to Austin, man. And that's what we did. And we were there for a while, a year and some change and everything. And then we went to Minnesota to do the demo with Brown. And then once we got the call to come for the Maserati thing, man, and that was like 87, 88.
Yeah.
And we moved into Greg and I both where I moved there. Greg was like around 87. He had got there and I got there in 88. And then, Craig Rice, he was out running Paisley, and he just would, like I said, every now and again, he'd throw us a bone, just some odd stuff. And what was really cool, man, is Craig or whoever would let us come to the parties at Paisley, man, back in the day. Let me tell you something, man. It was the parties back in the day, like in the 88, around the Love Sexy era, man. Let me tell you something, man. It was, bruh, it was Shangri-La. It was like the place where musicians go to die. It was the bar. All the food you can eat, the baddest women in
Oh, man.
Minnesota. It was like, it was
Every night was
bananas.
a King Tut banquet.
Man, every night. And we was broker than the 10 Commandments, man. So we going down there mainly to eat. We go like, we about to eat tonight, baby.
Yeah.
So we down there say, hey, how y'all doing? And you're working them wings over, man. We just killing it, man. Ribs, wings, you name it, bro. It was seafood. It was,
Kurt,
man.
I got one more question I want to ask Morris too, because it's when I talk to you and I talk to all the other musicians that I had the honor and privilege of being around with, I think about the early days for you guys as musicians and the work that you had to put in just to get there. I mean, and I just feel like that's something that's not there no more. Do new musicians have to hustle and struggle and work as hard as you guys had to do? I know AI, and we'll talk a little bit about that, how that changed anything, but it's like there's a common denominator, Morris. When I talk to Mark, when I talk to other cats, they talk about driving around in a station wagon.
Yeah. It's a different situation nowadays, man, with the kids now, and it's a different mindset. What I loved about the band guys in Memphis, especially about them, unlike today it's kind of like a mercenary situation. Everybody works for anybody who's got some money. It's like they're like mercenaries. It's like when the money run out, so do I. So it was that kind of thing. Back in the day, there was a band loyalty thing. It's like none of us played in other bands. We were our own band. We fashioned ourselves after Prince, after like people like that. I remember telling Prince when I first got in the band, when he was asking me about my story like Hucky is. And I said, Prince, we used to play y'all stuff. I mean, that's how we, got it, ran into y'all and everything. And one of our things was we didn't want to whoop the bands in Memphis. It wasn't like that wasn't anything to us to like be the best band in Memphis. We already were that. It wasn't about whooping, the Squares. Like you go, who is the Squares? Exactly. I said, we wanted to whoop you and Michael. Like that's who we wanted to whoop. We wanted to come out and compete with you because we considered you the best. And so come to find out, that's what Prince's thing was all along. Prince was like, I want to operate at the top, the top level of my game. Him and Mike was cool. Everybody made out him and Mike to be these terrible rivals. And then Prince would tell me all these Michael Jackson stories. But what Prince was a fierce competitor. It's like that cartoon when the coyote and the dog walking with their lunchbox going to work. And then when that clock rang, they was in battle, man. And then when 5 o'clock hit, they walking back home with the lunch buckets, Prince, when it came to the stage, he always was going to be the best. He wanted to be the best. He wanted us to be the best. So that's what he was competitive. But it wasn't no hate. It wasn't no hate. I mean, I can't count how many times we be watching Michael And he said, man, when Mike get to doing them ad libs like that and doing that, you can't do nothing with him. You gotta. And then I remember when he did Bucharest, man, we were hitting a lot of places that Mike would hit. He'd either be before us or after us or something like this. And we was checking Mike out. And he said, man, what you gonna do with this dude? He jumped out of the floor and stood there for 2 or 3 minutes, man, and just people passing out. He said, what you gonna do with that, man? You can't do nothing with that.
Right.
You know, that's respect. That's, you know, they had a deep respect for one another. You know, I went to see Michael's movie. You know, I was living in LA, man, and This Is It came out. And I just went by myself. I just went to check it out. And it was funny to watch it because it was so many different contrasts between, of course, I'm always thinking of like how Mike does his thing, how Prince, it was so many people telling Mike what to do and stand over here and go do that and this and directing him. I'm like, no, man, Prince was that dude. He was like, no, you go over here, turn the lights and put the ballyhoo over here. He was directing the show and he wasn't taking it. But one thing Mike said that was like, I said, I got to tell Prince, man, when he said it, he said, the guy had asked him about, you know, what his whole creative process. He said, well, the thing is, when God gives me a song, I have to do it right then. I got to go and like work on it and do it, or else he's going to give it to Prince.
Yep. You know,
Man,
they worked. Yeah.
Man, I busted out laughing in
I
the
love
theater,
that story.
man. And people didn't know why I was laughing the way I was, man. I said, oh my God, I got to tell Prince. So I saw Prince like a day or two after that. I said, man, Prince, I said, Mike, I said, you see Mike's movie? He said, no, I haven't seen it yet. And I said, he kind of gives you a backhanded compliment in it. He said, what do you mean? I said, because it's funny, man, because he was saying that when inspiration strikes, he has to do it right now, or else God is going to give it to you. So that means in his mind, the Lord is looking at me first and then Prince. But so I had to do it, or else he's going to just go ahead and move it on over to you. And he had the biggest yuck out of that, man. We just laughed about it because that was the competition, you know. But Michael had a very healthy respect for Prince because he knew that dude was not slipping on no music. He knew Prince was a prolific writer and that he could just churn them out like that, man. And so that was always in the back of Mike's mind. It's like, I got to keep it moving or else Prince going to run me over, bro. He knew that.
Yeah. I have to mention, Morris, that that line about they'll give the ideas to Prince, they worked that into the MJ the musical. I don't know if you've seen the musical yet.
I did see it, man.
They did work that line in the
it was fantastic, man. I went to the guy who you know, it's the same people that's doing the music is doing the Prince musical, and I went to see the show because I wanted to see them in action, man. It's a phenomenal show. And, you know, I think the musical is going to be phenomenal, man, because the people that they got working on this thing, man, is killing it, man. So
the young man who's playing Prince just dropped, and his name is name begins with a K. I just friended him on Facebook. Chris.
Yeah, Chris. Yeah.
Anyhow, he looks really good, but they just dropped a trailer of him singing a little bit of "Take Me With You" with the young lady. Yeah, look, I mean, they're going to do it their own way. You can't replicate Prince. You just can't.
That was going to be the problem. I don't care when or what they decided to do. That was always going to be the biggest singular issue. It's like you almost have to breed a Prince and start training this kid from young to like really master these things that Prince could actually do. Prince is an anomaly, man. It's just like he's a gifted kid that just had all of these things inertly just in him. And if you're gonna manufacture that, you know, you got to get to me the closest cat that I think that kind of would be a perfect scenario with the people that I know that are available would probably be like a Bruno Mars. He can play the guitar, he can play keys, he can sing, he can dance. He's got at least the traits. You know, he's kind of striking in that same height range. This kid, Chris, is like almost as tall as me, man. So it's going to be like this thing of juxtaposition of like, wow, he was really tall, you know. So you got to have a suspension of disbelief in order to really, but I think what they're going to be able to do is to absorb you into the show so that you can, it's like Tom Cruise, man. When you're looking at Tom Cruise, you got to take it out of your mind. This is the dude from all the Top Gun, because every movie he's got to be like, you have to act so well that you can take people's mind off that you've done all these other movies and that you're Tom Cruise. You got to absorb that character. And I think if they can get these parts like what at least what I've been seeing, I think they'll be able to manage to just take people out of the, where he's really tall. They won't be thinking about that. It'll be like, he's nailing these parts.
Yeah.
His acting is, he's been taking lessons. He's been doing. I think he's cool. I think he's doing a great job. I don't
Yeah,
know what they're going to end up with, but I think what he's done so far has been, from what I've seen, has been dope.
and the name is Chris Collins.
Yeah, Chris
He's got a
Collins.
nice, and Rachel Webb looks like she's playing the female lead there.
Yeah, she's killing.
Yeah, no,
You know-
the little trailer they had sounded great, but
Yeah.
you can't grow a prince overnight. So you
It's
way
it's the
you-
toughest job, and the other crazy thing about Prince is like, how do you get that much into a 2 hour movie?
Yeah,
It's so much,
right.
man. It's just
yeah.
he's done so much, you know.
Well,
Prince
you know
almost
what?
his thing almost needs to be like a Netflix thing that's just like runs over a bunch of
That's a
times.
great idea. Somebody should do a Netflix.
Yes, right.
It just got to be like a thing like that, so you can just go through his
Yeah.
whole timeline, man, and they can run 20 seasons off of that, man.
Yeah, true. But
20
Bobby Z's the musical director for this, one of the musical directors for this show. I understand because they
Well,
mentioned that. at
Bobby and I
Celebration.
both are consultants for the
Oh, right,
music
you
director.
and you, yeah.
Yeah, the music director. Oh my gosh, I'm tripping.
Consultant
I
or whatever.
got his name in my brain, and it just like flew right out when you said that. But he's the MD, and he's amazing, man. He's killing it, killing it, killing it. And Bobby and I are like kind of consultants. Like anything we can do
Consultant, right.
musically to help them in the direction, like listen to the music. And if we say, well, he wouldn't have did it that way, and Bobby is more finely tuned to the story. See, that's
Right.
all before my time. I came in the mid to late 80s, after all of the genesis of Prince and all of the cats that were there at the very beginning. Bobby's is definitely more, that's his timeline. And what I'm there to do is just assist him in whatever way I can to
Yeah.
musically to make sure that they're on point with that. And I'm happy to report that they are. They got this handled. You know what I'm saying? So they killing it,
Cool.
man. But Bobby's definitely more in tune to the story of what's happening with Jill and everybody that's in the story that's up to that point. He was there. I was not. I'm not I'm an import. And so I'm dependent on him to make sure the things in the story are accurate, and we both are handling the music thing to make sure that's is dope. But I think everything's moving in the right direction.
Excellent.
You know what, Morris, I want to talk to you about, because you had just said, all the number of years that you were with Prince, and you had that rich history with him, obviously, from the late 80s all the way up until, the time that he was no longer with us.
Yeah.
What does it mean to you now to be able to still play Prince's music, the hits and the things that you worked on with the former members of the New Power generation? When you're on stage, can you tell us about those emotions?
What it is for me, and I'm going to tell you this, man. Prince as a person. First of all, man, this dude. I went to work because I didn't have any family in Minneapolis, until I got married, and my wife had cousins and people, aunts and uncles that lived there. I personally, up until that point, which was 2004, I had no family there. So whenever holidays would come, man, I'd go back home to the South or whatever, to Chicago to my aunts. I would go out of town for holidays and things like that. And so this one time we were working, man, and Prince wasn't a holiday cat, man. He was not fond of the holidays, wasn't like he was over families and stuff like that. And Prince always either want to go out of town, he'd be like, Morris, let's go to Miami or let's go to New York or whatever, and we hop on the jet and go, man. But he just wasn't into it. It's like he'd rather be working. It's like he want to be working, doing something. And so the girls that been running Cat wanted to go home. Everything from wanted to go back to Canada. They wanted to go home. All of this, blah blah blah. And they belly ached until he acquiesced and let everybody go home. But by this time, it's too late for me to like really book a ticket like $1,400. And I'm like, man, and I got to turn right back around. I'm like, so I'm just like, I told my mom, I called my mom and said, hey, mom, I'm not gonna come back home. I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna tell him I'm taking Christmas, but I'm gonna let this go by, and I'm just gonna chill here in Minnesota. And so what I decided to do, I used to have like a key to the garage at Paisley. Prince gave me a key so I can get in. And I had a key to the garage. I just drive in, and I went in on Thanksgiving, man. And and I just figured I'd just go and do some programming, just kill some time. I ain't got nothing else to do. So turns out Prince was there too. Just I didn't know he was there, and I'd been working in programming, and then I went to the little kitchen in the atrium there to get a drink or something, and I was coming out, and he was coming in. He said, "What are you doing here?" I was like, "Oh, snap!" I said, "I didn't know you was here, man." I just said, "Oh, I'm in the back, man. I'm just on the soundstage doing some programming." And he says, "Man, see, this is what I'm talking about." He says, "See, Morris, everybody's belly aching about going home and everything, and here you are down here on Thanksgiving programming, man." And he goes over, there's a phone on the wall, like right by the door, there's a phone, and he picks up this phone, man. He calls this dude named Sonny, who was at the time was the building guy who kind of like looked after the building and everything. Called this dude on Thanksgiving at his house. He said, "Hey, Sonny, I want you to come down and take Morris around to the properties, drive him around to, different places, and he's going to pick out one of the properties, and we're going to do him a quick bill like that, just like that." And I'm like, "What?" And I can hear Sonny like, "Yes, sir," like on the phone, click. And then, Prince hung up the phone. He was like, "Yeah, Sonny's going to come get you." And I just was like, "Bro, like that's bananas. Like, that's crazy." So sure enough, the dude picks me up, and I picked the one out, and then Prince says, "Okay, so we're gonna get you a spot." He said, 400,000, that's your limit. Don't go over it. Like that kind of thing. And I'm like, 400 grand, nigga, just like out the. I'm like, what?
Back then.
Right.
I was like, bro, it's like, when you're on a game show and they be like, "Let's make a deal," and you get the deal of the day or whatever it was, the mega deal or whatever. You just like holler, like 100, 200, 300, and you're like, ah! It was like that, man.
Right.
I was like, bro, like I'm just like head spinning, like it's like crazy, and it's just like that, bro, and it's just like, what do you? So as it relates to Prince and me, when it comes to these shows, when I left in 2012, when he started working with the girls for Third Eye Girl and all of that and everything. It was always important for me. And I had been let go like several times throughout my career with Prince. Like in 96, I went. In 2004, I went. I came and I went again. I went like 3 or 4 times. And every time he called me back, I had to get him. I had to like, "Prince, you missed me, didn't you? You can't stand it when I'm gone. You just can't." He's like, "No, shut up, man." It's just like, but it'd be, I had to get him because, I'd be back. And he finally just figured out, don't fire him. Just get some other people, but don't fire him because every time I come back, I want some more money. But it was like, but it was cool, man. And Prince, what he did was he looked out for me. He looked out for my family. This dude took care of me, man. I mean, all my career with him. And I'm gonna tell you something, man. I did crap that I should have been at home 100 times. If it had, I don't know what it was. That maybe it's the fact that I was quite a joker or whatever it was that would have normally got other people sent to the house. This dude let me stay, man, and let me be around and would continue to call me back. But I remember when I was at the said meeting where I was sitting there with Levi and all of the other NPG guys at Paisley. I remember before I was in the band, I remember Prince talking about that Rosie I think had just left us, or no, she had not left at this point. But he was just talking about how people leave and everything. He said, and then he said they always leave. And then I remember sitting there going like, "Man, what? Like if I get a chance, I ain't never gonna quit." That was my thought process at the time. I just said, well, because that look on his face, man. And when he said like they all leave and like that, I was just like, man, I felt that. I was like kind of crazy. Like it almost was like the scene in the movie or something, man. And I just was like, wow, man, I don't know, why would somebody quit? Like, and but of course I learned why somebody would quit. It's like it's so much pressure and it's so much just it's not everybody can take it, man. It's like being next to the sun. It's like it shines super bright, it's super hot, and sometimes you get burnt out because it's just like it's hard to operate at that frequency. It takes something special to be able to every day come in with your A game. Hucky and them had to do it. You know, Gil and them had to do it. Everybody that worked around this cat in your own respective role had to operate next to the sun at a high intensity level all the time. And it's hard. It's difficult because
Well,
it's like, you know,
I want to speak on that because man, that is so true. I remember when, when my time came and it was time to leave, and I was just tired.
yeah,
It's like you can't. I know normal person can hang like that. I mean, Prince is just like he was amazing in what he
right.
could do. Just being able just to every day, just like being focused and doing what
Yeah,
he needed to do. And not only with just creating the music, but he was also running a very large organization when I was there.
absolutely.
And so you're right, man. And I remember he told Levi and the guys when I left, he's like, well, Huck ain't with us no more. He couldn't hang. But you said something, man, that I thought was really interesting. There's this like an abandonment thing that he felt.
Yeah,
It's like we left him and stuff like that. And now as I'm older and I can like to think back on that, and at the time I was like, I gotta go.
yeah,
But it's like, he just demanded so much and it was so
yeah.
hard to stay at that pace with him, man. So
And and
I
and,
really
and
relate
I
to
say
that.
this, Hook, too, because there's like 4 jobs that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, like with Prince. Your job was one, security was one, the sound man was two,
Mm,
the accountant,
yeah,
and whoever was the studio cats. It's like those are 4 jobs that are like the hardest job with Prince. You had to work at such a high level all
Yeah.
the time, and just whoever's dealing with the money, and there's plenty of other jobs that was tough, like whoever the legal people are, and
Mm.
all of those types of things. But the people that were around him, like that, had to be like the studio people, the security people, those folks, man. You're talking about intense, man, because that dude don't sleep, man. And if he don't sleep, you don't sleep. That's just plain and simple. It's just like you got to be up, you got to be at a moment's notice ready to go. It's like, bro, it's like, and he only trusts a few people. So he want to
Mm.
have Huck around. He want to have Gil. He want to have like the people that was around Dwayne and the cats. And it's just like, bro, it's a super intense thing, and I don't think people understand the gravity of it. But to answer your question, I went the long way around. When I left, and kind of had a chance to explore my own thing and whatever I was doing and everything. Um, I got to just trying to figure my thing out. And when Prince transitioned, it was a very difficult time for all of us that had been around him, and that, because first of all, you just have this separation from reality that he could even die. Like I just you just think people like that are just immortal. Like it's like something's going to be able to jump out and save him, or something's going to you don't just think about like it's very difficult to let it absorb in that he's gone. I still to this day will speak. It's almost like you put like Prince is in present tense. Like I'll say he likes this, not he liked, and I catch myself doing it, man, because it's just like it's just hard to say like he's gone. It's like that whole thing. And so when it happened, and the opportunity came. Because one of the big things I remember talking to Kirk, man, I like at the time Prince had transitioned, and the biggest thing that I remember when I went back to Minneapolis, I'm trying to figure out what happened and all of this, and then I'm trying to figure out how I can pay my respects, and how all of us who work with him could pay our respects, because it's when you leave Prince, man, everybody knows that leave. Huck know, everybody knows you're out of the circle. And it's like it's whoever the people around at the time are, that's the new circle. So I knew I was out, and I knew I was on the outside and all that kind of stuff. And whoever's in the inner circle at the time, that's who the inner circle people are. So I'm just asking questions. I'm trying to find out, well, how can we do this and do that. And then when it came to the time when there was a opportunity to do a tribute and a thing like that, I got to ask by Londale and the people with the estate to participate in it, man. And what I saw was, after we decided to do it, it was a lot of wrangling and a lot of stuff happened. But when we finally nailed it down and, and got the venue, got the X, it sold out so fast and everything. And and I saw that night, man, and it was crazy, man. It was the biggest thing I've ever done without Prince and on my kind of like on my own. And thank God for Terry Lewis, man. Terry was a great friend and mentor during that time.
Mm.
And I was like way over my head, man. It was like a lot of stuff, a lot of decisions. I had never done anything that big, and I wasn't really prepared for all of the things that needed to be done. You know, Kirk is super good with that kind of thing, and but you know, a lot of people like me, a lot of people, you know, cool with working with me and everything. But I really had to rely on my cats. But what I noticed was um, the outpouring of the people and how much the next day after the show, man, there was a few bumps because I was supposed to have like Sinbad kind of do the narration parts while we were kind of doing the thing, but he got sick at the last minute and I had to do it. So I'm trying to do that and still run stuff on the stage. And thank God for Magoo and Magoo. Just on a shout out to Magoo. Magoo suffered an illness with a stroke, everything. Much love to you, Magoo. And I'm bringing up Magoo because he was a gigantic help. Bugsy, gigantic help. All of my old cats that would like had been down through there came together and really put on something cool. President Obama sent a nice message. You know, thanks to Londell and all of them that managed to get all of these pieces together and all of the people that came, Jesse J and Tori, all of the people, Morris Day and everybody came down in mint condition. And bro, it was amazing to see Dougie Fresh, all of the people that came out, you know, with the NPG former and you know beginning original and latter groups all come together for one cause was to celebrate this man, and the people loved it, man. And so that's what you know. Jill Willis was there and was like, you know, this is a cool thing. Everybody turned out. It was a lot of love. It was an outpouring of like all of this music. People seemed to gravitate to it. So then the thought became, well, let's, you know, people want to hear it, then let us go and play it. And let us go and we petitioned the estate to be able to use the name and that's why we went and did it. And so the sole cause of it for me is, you know, it's cool that we can go and make a little change and do that kind of thing. But the biggest thing was the proliferation and the continuation of the Prince legacy. And if we can go play music and if people like, you know, there's a ton of people. A lot of people saw Prince many, many times, but then there's some people who never got a chance to see him. And so for them, it's been cool. They come up to us from the meet and greets and different things and say, you know, I never got a chance to see Prince, but I'm so glad I got a chance to meet you guys. Y'all played with him
Yeah.
and did this, man. And it's cool to just meet y'all and just, man, just y'all was that close to him. Even that rub off for them is enough to just be like, since y'all was next to him, we cool with being next to y'all. And that's crazy. That's like, wow, that's the power of this dude, man. And so for me, it's anything that I can do on a positive nature that will perpetuate Prince's legacy. Man, I'm with it, man. I'm with it 110%. Anybody trying to do anything good with Prince's name and do it, because you know I have a lot of people that you know you always gonna have some, and some people like y'all just riding on Prince coattail. And I'm like, that's what I did my whole career. Okay, that's what I did for a living. I rode on Prince coattail. That's what I did. So, hey, what? And your point is what?
This
You
one,
know?
right?
So
You've
I'm
mentioned
like,
that number. You've mentioned that a number of times. Who would not want to have that on their resume as a musician, Morris?
let me
Come
tell
on,
you something.
seriously.
And what you look at Prince like is a musical father. Like that's our lineage in terms
Sure.
of he was our musical father. He was a mentor to us. He was a teacher to us. He was a big brother to us, and he taught us a lot, man. And we learned a lot. And so, you know, whatever we can do, man, in that regard, especially we don't want to do nothing raggedy, man. A lot of times, you know, with these shows, a lot of times what I know what we have to do. I can't speak for like the Revolution and other groups, but you know, because of spending restraints, we don't have super long amounts of time to like just like rehearse. So we had to go in Minneapolis, like this last show we did at First Avenue. We had 2 days to to rehearse. We had Brown Mark who played with us the first time, who came with a day and a half and played that whole show. And then that was amazing because you have to do a lot of work at home. You have to do a lot of stuff. You know, he's a pro,
Sure.
and but you know. you want to be in a situation where you got time and you could really perfect things. You know,
Yeah.
one of the good things about working with Kirk and when we did the thing on the big screen at Paisley, we had like 10 days to rehearse. When you get that kind of time, then man, you can do some really nice things. You can really just make sure everything's tight and gets the time that it deserves, you know. And so, and so I do understand, when you want things to be right. You know, sometimes it takes time. But the bottom line is, man, we are no good. I mean, the macaroni, so I get the peas. Okay, uh, I think that was for the reference to the hip hop, for the rap
It's
thing.
all right.
Um, but yeah, you want to be able to do this music, man, and play for the people. And if the market is cool and they like it, man, then we want to do it. You know, that's just it's cathartic for us. It's cathartic for them. You know, we all love it, man. It's like sometimes we all like get some emotions in different parts of the show. It was really difficult for when we first started playing these, man. You be playing Purple Rain, man, and they just hit you, man. And
Yeah.
it just be like, man, you just fighting. I just remember when we did the thing, thank goodness, man, when we were rehearsing, we were doing the sound check for the tribute at the XL. And we hadn't run the video part. We had been working on the technology for that. We were using some new tech to synchronize Prince's image with the music. And I had a tech dude from LA that was a big studio dude that was working on that piece. And we only got one chance to run it in sound check. And man, it was so powerful, man. I'm sitting there playing this part with that piece of film running. And man, it's like somebody's under my keyboard cutting the worst onions you could find. My eyes was like tears coming and like burning so bad. I'm just doing like this, man. I'm trying to play and I'm just squinting because the salt water's just
Oh, I
running
hate
in
that
my eyes.
burning your
And
eyes.
I'm just like, man. And so I got my little cry out the way. And then when we did the show, man, everybody else was crying. Michael Bland, Stevie, everybody. And bro, when you talk about like Shaka and Stevie Wonder, man, it don't get no better. It don't
Of
get
course
no
it
better
doesn't.
than that, man. It's just
No,
like
it doesn't.
I called Shaka first, man, and Shaka was so great. She said, Morris, if you want to use, she said, I'm thinking about it, I'm on the fence about it. But if you want to use my name and then put it out there that I'm working with it, you're welcome to do that. And other people get, and that's exactly what happened. When they heard Shaka was involved, same with Stevie, man. Stevie was like, basically, where do I need to be? His people were phenomenal, man. Chaka's people were phenomenal. Everybody just came together for this brother, man. And it was so beautiful, man. It was so great that the love that they had for this man, that they came out and did that, man. And so bro, Dougie was a good friend of Prince, and just like,
Yeah.
man, they wasn't nothing but a thing. They just came out, and did the thing, man, and it was so, so great, man. And so how could we not just go and do that? And the next day, I mean, I remember running into about at least 10 people, man. I'm standing in a hotel not far from the X, and I ran into a lot of people who were staying. And the biggest question the biggest statement that all of them made was they said, you know what, man, that was an amazing show. That was so great. It was like 5 hours long, which I got yelled at from the promoter. He said, you can't do a 5 hour show. I'm like, yeah, we can. We used to do it. So, so I'm like, sure we can. He's like, you can't do that. You can't talk
Yes,
to
I
Mowgli
can.
like that. You know? And so it was a 5 hour show, man. And it was a long show. And we got a lot of stuff in. But the biggest thing people said to me, they said, like, man, that show was dope. But you didn't play my favorite song. We played, it was 52 Prince songs played at that show. 52.
Jesus.
And
What a set
still
list.
10 people say you didn't play my favorite song. What does that tell you? Prince was so prolific. So many hits. He said, Marty, so many hits, so little time. We just,
Yep.
that's all we got. We just got these hits. So he had so many songs and still didn't hit everybody's favorite, man.
So I have a question for you, if it's
Yeah.
okay, gentlemen. Jay and I had the honor and privilege of going to Celebration this year, and they showed some archived concerts. And one of the concerts, Jay, you know where I'm going to go with this,
I do.
was the Gold Experience show opening night at Wembley. I have two words: holy shit.
Yeah.
Watching what you all had to do on that show, I was stressed out watching. I mean, I enjoyed the performance, but what blew me away is all the stuff that you had to do The technology that he was pushing, we've always talked about how Prince pushed the limits of technology.
But
He
that
had
was, yeah, that
the
was
first,
partially my fault on that one.
yeah, but the wireless MIDI controller, the Purple Axe, right?
Yeah.
Which was 10 years ahead of its time. Who the hell had a wireless MIDI controller at that time, Morris? No one. He had it custom built. How long is it going to take to be built and all this? We're watching this show. Here's Tommy flying up in the air, held together by wire with the smoke coming out of the Purple Axe. You're controlling all these different samples and stuff like that. Can you take us back to that opening show? First of all, you played literally talk about not playing the hits. I think there might have been one or two deeper cuts, like no 1999, no Purple Rain. This was all new songs from the Gold Experience. What was that like? We're talking 30 years now.
Yeah, man, it was crazy. I mean, Prince had, he of course, being a person that been playing these songs for so long, the stuff in the 80s, and he just got to a place where he's like, I don't want to do all of that. I want to do this new stuff. This is where I'm at now.
Sure.
It was just kind of crazy because, I don't, and he figured that out. We did that, and it was incredible because it's very difficult to do a tour, and you're not, if you're a beginning artist, that you don't have any choice but to play your record that you just put out that nobody probably knows that well, because you're a new artist. That's why you're gonna open for somebody, and that sort of thing is because they put you on, just like how Prince got put on with Roger Troutman and with Zapp and with Rick James, and with that situation and the Rolling Stones. He had to open up for these cats because they had an audience that was kind of built in, and he's kind of like garnering those audiences, And so, but to be that far in with all of the hits you got prior, and then just not play none of them, just gonna play this new music, man. That was a brave move that this dude was doing.
Unbelievable.
Man. And it was bananas. And so we had to make a show, and we had to make it crazy. And I remember when I first came in with the whole thing with Prince, because one of the, man, I'm not a horn tooter of myself. That ain't my thing. But the one legacy piece that I was able to be, that I'm proud of in this situation, is when I was doing a thing opening with Carmen Electra.
Right.
Prince would come to see we were the band for the Glam Slam, and he would come to rehearsal just peeping us out to make sure everything was going cool, because he wanted whatever we was going to put on at the Slam to be on hit too. And so, man, he came and heard some of the stuff I was doing with some samples. Like I was putting loops under his music, but they weren't his loops. I had a British group, TKA, like Information Society. I would put like these loops under 17 Days and under his stuff, and he was like, "Boink!" Like, what the hey, what is going on here? And Levi called me, man. He said, "Man, Morris, what did you do?" And I'm like, "What you talking about, Vi?" And he said, man, Prince came in after you guys rehearsed, man. He said, "Stop the press." He said, "Man, Morris and them over there playing loops under our music." And he says, "We got to do that, but we got to use our own loops from the vault." And so he said, "But I don't want Barbarella doing it. I want it to be in Michael Bland's control with the drums." Because I was doing the loops. I'm playing them on a keyboard. Prince had given me this other sampler that I could use. And so I was like hitting the sustain pedal and like DJ scratching the loops. And then we play on top of it. Just play on top of this loop. And Prince was like, ding, 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 ding. It went off in his head, man. Like, that is the pirate's life for me. We got to do that. And he did that until the end of his time. That was the way he did it from there on out. It's like, I'm going to put this to where he's not married to a sequencer. And so when I got the job, I inherited Rosie's rig. And it was some gear in there. I was like, this Emax sucks. It's only sampling at 37 point.
Emax.
I said it's not sampling at 44.1 or 48K. And I told Prince, I said, "Prince, man, your gear is boo-boo, man." And I'm like, I shouldn't have better gear than you. You're Prince. And he said, "Well, fix it." And we had a dude named Skip Johnson. And he said, "Tell Skip to fix it." And so I went to Skip and said, "Hey, man, Prince say he want to upgrade my keyboard rig to like what my rig is, because I wanted to match my rig at home so I could work at home and then bring it to work and it'd be like the same thing." And so, man, and I got to run in my mouth about the tech. I'm a little tech whiz. And so I'm like, "Yeah, Prince. And then the samples will be this. I can make samples be 10 minutes long." And he's like, "Oh, yeah." He said, but then you can do that, then you can do this. And then he'd be like, and then you can take this. And I was like, but I don't know if it'll do that. But it was like, yeah, but then you can, Mr. Wise Guy, so then you can put it over here and and then you can make them low by. I was like, oh my God, what did I do? I
Give
should
him
shut
an
my
inch.
mouth. I got the run in my mouth, and now he done got me on some Jetson mess. And it just like was bananas. And he had me doing stuff even that I was like going, how are we doing this, man? It's crazy. He knew how to push the nth, like to the nth degree to get every bit out of the technology. And I remember Bobby Z came to the rehearsal one day, and Bobby was watching me doing my thing, and he said, man, you know what? This is crazy. He said, this is what Prince wanted to do back when we was doing it.
Yeah.
This is. And I was telling him, but this ain't enough for him now. He
Yeah.
want the next. I was like, it's an ongoing cycle. He's already maxed this out for what technology is available to do right now. We were doing stuff so crazy, man. I remember the cats. I was friends with some of the guys that played with Michael and Janet, and they would come hang out when they come to town. Chucky Booker, all them dudes would come by my studio, and they'd be like, I'd show them like my little sample thing I'm doing. You know, Prince would have me do it for like Lenny and people that would come in to Paisley to like hang out. He would just say, Morris, just play your parts by yourself. And I'd have all of this stuff going, and they'd be like, what the hey? What is all of that, bro? Like, you got strings and vocals and stuff, and you playing parts, and then you doing 3 parts with 2 hands, like, because my feet are doing something. They holding a note while this is doing, and then I'm hitting samples. And it was like, bro, he was like, how are you doing this? The Prince said, ancient Chinese secret. That's how you do it.
I'm telling you.
So it was, man, bro, it was like, that was the thing that was so crazy about the technology at the time. Prince was always ahead of the game technology-wise. He was always ahead of the game music-wise. And he knew how to marry the two and still make a show, you know. So that show, by the time we got to Wembley, that was full tilt. That was like 4 people with a wall of sound that just like, that's 4 people.
You're covering like what would normally be 2 or 3 people's roles as keyboardists. You're doing by
singers,
yourself.
horns, extra guitars, everything. And Prince called us. He said, these are the hotel killers. Because I ain't got a horn section. That's 5 rooms. The singers, that's, you know, the other people, that's, look at all them hotel rooms that just dried up. You know, he's just making a joke, you know. But that was true, you know. But it just like we went, and then we got to the place where it just was too much. It just was so much. And then he went back to organic. He just like, I got singers, I got all of these players, I got 3 keyboard players, me and Renato and Cassie and just all the, you know. So he just, but that was just like Miles Davis, man. Just like he went through these things. He's like, he wanted to change and evolve. And so that's what he did. He evolves at every stage of his career. He just kept it moving and kept changing the situation to change people. I was blessed and fortunate enough to remain through a lot of iterations of the band. I was almost about to be another NPG with when we did Welcome to America with Toe Wakenfield and Chris Coleman. Sure. And that was about to be another NPG right there, and it just didn't work out because I think Toe had some things going on, and she
with
couldn't
Jeff
do
Beck.
it.
I think she was playing with Jeff Beck.
She was playing with Jeff Beck, yeah. And so that's why that didn't materialize. And I think it just wasn't a conversation. And Tove was like, she was like 17, 18, working with the biggest at the time anyway. Insane. So she wasn't in that place like, oh, I'm so glad she like, nigga, I'm working, man. Like, what we doing? Like, I need to know when we going to do this because I got this over here and this over here and this over here. And that's not Prince's MO. He needs you to be focused on this and this alone. And you ain't got all of these extraneous things happening. And that just didn't work out. You know,
you got to be on Prince Standard Time.
Right. More, I got something I want to ask you that I've never asked any musician over the years. And so Kurt and Jay and all the fans that are out there, you know, having an opportunity to see Prince at one of these arenas, it's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing. But what's more amazing is being with this dude in Soundcheck.
Oh.
And I'm doing my job. You know, we get to the venue, I'm making sure everything's secure and stuff like that. But quite often, all the time, I would just stop and I would be in awe because it was so intimate. And this to see him pouring his soul out, there's nothing that can compare to the sound checks. And for a musician, Morris, I just wanted to see what your thoughts and your feelings when you think back and you reminisce doing some of those sound checks, man. Can you share what that was like for us?
Yeah, the sound check was a really interesting thing. It was a nerve-wracking thing, and it was this magical thing because a lot of incredible things would happen. Like there have been songs birthed at Soundcheck, like songs that he wrote in Soundcheck, and things and jams that would happen and stuff like that. There were some very intense moments. There was times where he just decided in Soundcheck we're gonna learn a new song in Soundcheck and play it tonight in front of 12,000 people, and we'd be like, "Oh snap!" And you learn it and play it at that night. And just because he wanted to change the show up, he didn't want to never play the same show twice. Never wanted to do that. He's gonna do something different. He got to. So every night you had to be watching. You had to be on it, man. But Soundcheck was one of those magical things where you didn't know what was going to happen. You didn't know how long it was going to be. You don't know what the situation was going to be and what his mood was going to be.
Mm.
But you knew you was going to be working and you was going to be on it and it was going to be smoking. And so you basically playing a whole show right there in sound check. The sound check sometimes would go as longer than the show, depending on what he wanted to do and how long he wanted to tweak on it, because there's a part of it that's just jamming while they figure stuff out. And then the part comes where he's now mixing the sound check and he's doing it and he's doing this thing. So it was always this thing, man, of like really having an intense period while we're doing that, man. Uh, the one it's our chick. The one time that was really interesting is when when things would go pretty crazy, and like I remember we had a couple of times where we had some questionable sound people, and there was this fine line that you had to walk because Prince could really be hard, and so he had to stop himself right before you were at the breaking point. You had to stop, or if it crossed over the line, then we are in different territory. Because sometimes the sound cat would just quit on the spot, just like, I can't take it, I'm out, and just leave. You're like, no, no, come back. you know, those times, and it just was like those were the times that it really took somebody like that had an experience and how to deal with people and know when the breaking point is, because he was very tough, but you had to walk that line. And then sometimes, it would get to the break point where they couldn't deal with it anymore. And then he just had to figure some stuff out. Those were the times where it was tough. But I think the hardest thing was sound check, and then the show, and then the after show was cool because that was just whatever. That was just gonna be however he feel. We just gonna hit it. But the sound check would be intense, man, because it's just like. But you know what was cool though, man, is like when Prince was like when he come in and he was the voice of God. You didn't know where he was. It'd be dark, and all you could hear is that voice coming through the PA system, man, like Morris, like this, and then you be looking around like, where he at?
Right.
He trying to and he just in the balcony somewhere, just chilling, just listening. You can't see him, you don't know what, but that voice just coming through every speaker like God, man, just like Morris. Like, what was that last night? I'm like, yeah, President, that new part that was really cool. I was working on it, and then it happened, and then but I forgot the other part that went with it. And he's like,
boy.
He said, don't ever do that again. He said, I just wanted to go home.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. It was so terrible, man. And we were doing 3 Chains of Gold, and it just was, I had these samples like 3 Chains of Gold. They were alive. And then he gave us some new part. And I was like, he gave it to us right in sound check. So I'm like, I'm okay. I got to remember this part because I didn't have a keyboard in the back to go practice when I got out of sound check. You had to remember. So I'm like, okay, I got to remember this part. I got to think about it.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting up to the part come so I can hit it. And I hit it. And then there's the sample, and I'm like, and I couldn't find which one, and I hit 3 of 3, and it was just the biggest train wreck, man.
Of course, I want to go back to where you said it was magical. So, like, you guys can maybe help me out on this, but there's a clip that's been going around YouTube for a while, and I think it's at the LA Coliseum or something, and Prince is playing on the piano, and I happened to be there, but
yeah.
man, that was like, I don't remember a lot of the shows, they just a big blur.
Yeah,
But
sure.
I remember that. I remember being in that arena. I remember stopping and just watching him. And then the thing that I got from a lot of my time with him with these sound checks, this
Yeah,
him pouring out his soul,
yeah,
it was raw, and it was this, and all I can, the only thing that comes to my mind is what you said is magical, man. And so,
yeah.
uh,
Well, especially that particular one, Hook, man. I wasn't there for that. That was like when Rosie was there, and
yeah,
that was an incredible piece of him playing on the piano and doing that, man. And there was a bunch of those moments, man, where it's just like this dude is just channeling. He doing his thing, man,
yeah,
and it's just everybody's in awe. Even those of us that would be playing with him, we just be sitting there going like, God, dog, man, this dude is just he
yeah,
just own it, man. He just own it, and it's just coming down the pike, bro. And it's just like, dang, man, this bro is so severe, like with what he's doing, and and it's like such an everyday thing for him, and
yeah,
just like it's nothing for him, but it's like he just allows the music to flow through him, man. And it's just like if you there, man, and just all you got to do is just stay out of the way, man. Let this dude do his thing, because
yeah.
he's gonna make it happen, man, and it's gonna be magical. And I remember asking him about that, like, man, how do you just do that, man? And he says, I don't know how come everybody else can't do
Right,
it,
right,
man.
right. Once I remember he would say that. Huh? No, doesn't everyone do that? Isn't
Yeah,
all
does it? Yeah, exactly.
like
You
that?
know that was his thing, man. And I just like, and I just remember one of the fun things we used to like to do in sound checking and like at the show is I just would look over at Levi, look over at Michael or Sonny or somebody, just look at him, do like how Morris and Jerome do like this thing where they go. We just look at each other like that, like this dude, man, is just crazy. Like, so we would be getting wild ourselves, man. Like it wasn't nothing for Prince to do something in the show that made us be like, and you had to be careful not to make faces like that because people looking at us, and but you just that thing would hit you to be like, God, dog, this Joker just hit something crazy.
Yeah.
And so you just as much a fan as everybody else is, and you
Yeah.
just sitting there going like, God,
But you can ill
woo,
afford to take your eye off the prize because all it takes is
yeah.
that 1 second of distraction and
Yes, sir.
something.
And then when that happens,
Yeah.
you just bought him some new boots.
Right.
That's right.
Mo's
That's right,
200
Mr. Morris. You just got me a new pair of boots, sir.
$200, Mo's.
Oh
Oh,
man.
yeah, man. That's funny.
So what's
That's
coming
good,
up?
though, Hook.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was
I said it's good, Hook. That's the kind of stuff that I think people need to understand about this dude. Like how indeed magical it was. How he was just be into it, man. Like this dude was like a one track mind when it came to music, and just how he was focused, and how everything was just like, man, just to find that creative spark that just like transcends, and so that people feel that, man, and that they get that from him, man. And it's just like that's a big part of it, man. And that's what the thing that it was an honor to like help in that vision and help with what he was trying to do. And that's why Prince always had the top shelf cats around him, man. All of everybody in the positions that they were in were at the top of their field, as it related to what they were there to do. You can rest assured that that was the case. And most of the cases that I saw, when Prince had his detail people, when he had his all of those people had to operate at high frequencies, man. And like I said, that's why it was so intense. But that's also why things were at the quality and at the level that they were, because he knew he could count on everybody to hold their own position down and do what they needed to do. It was all about the fans. It was all about their experience. He said to me a lot of times, he said, Morris, I get bored, and I assume everybody else is too, you know. And so
mm,
I don't want to do stagnant. I don't want to do run of the mill. We want to keep things moving so people stay interested and people stay engaged. That was a big deal for him. That was the thought behind the Super Bowl. When we were like doing that, he just didn't want to do all of his music. He said, there's a lot of different people here, all walks of life. Some people like country and western, some like rock and roll, some like funk, some like rap, so there was a lot of different things. And that's why I think we're always number one, is because Prince made a show that everybody could get something out of, and that's,
Yes.
Kendrick. I think Kendrick killed it on the last thing, but it was a lot of people that didn't like it because they didn't know what had happened. They were like, "What was that all about? What the hell was that?" But the people who know. But
Yeah.
Prince didn't do no Secret Squirrel stuff or nothing that was like, he did a show at the time that was timely and universal. And I think that's why it stands the test of time. And that's the Prince thought process is like always about how people are going to receive the music and how they're going to take the music. And that's why he was who he was,
And he wasn't lip syncing. And there's
Oh
no
no.
backing tracks.
So Prince gonna sing. I don't care. We do shows that like Top of the Pops and Soul Train. That typically that's James Brown, Prince. Only a few handful of people did live on those shows because
Yeah.
Prince like no man because he was confident. I'm coming in hot, baby. I know what I'm doing. And what I learned early on when I would see Prince, he'd be nervous at these shows, at the stuff we do for like the Grammys or any of that. Jill Willis calling this interrupting my thing. Let me get her off of here. But I came to find out he wasn't nervous. I said he's nervous. He wasn't nervous for him. He was nervous for us. He's like, I know what I'm gonna do. The thing I don't know is what you gonna do. So I'm nervous that you gonna mess up. I'm gonna kill it. And he told us, I know what I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna kill it, just like he did for the induction ceremony for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. One of the greatest solos of all time.
Yeah.
I went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and they gave me a private tour and showed me the extra footage that runs at the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And bro, let me tell you something. That's the closer of that whole. Of all of the people that's been through the Hall of Fame, Prince is the closer because his piece is the most powerful that they got in there. And so, man, that's the last stuff you see when you see that thing in their little arena in there, man. They showed it to me, and it was like, man, we got a cut that the television people don't have. We got a special cut just for this arena in here. And I said, man, this is bananas. Like they got his whole part. He the only one got his whole piece of music in that display. Not, Led Zeppelin, not the Rolling Stones, Prince. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's heavy, man. And that's a testament to this dude, severity and how incredible that he was with that. And so, man, he was just like, he know he was going to be on because he was that confident and he was that good.
And I always tell people that even though that While My Guitar Gently Weeps solo is incredible, some of the sound checks that he's done blow that out of the water. You were witness to many a number
Chris
of them.
he did incredible, like on the daily. That was incredible. It was only incredible if he didn't do it.
For him.
It's only incredible for him if he don't do incredible, which I can count on one hand whenever that was. I cannot recall any time where Prince was like, well, some singers just be off, man, and they just be off. Yeah. I personally cannot remember a time when Prince was like, I don't know, man. He was like, he wasn't hitting it today. There's never been a day like that. I can, honest to God, I can say that with confidence that I never saw this dude on a foul day. I have seen Whitney Houston. I've seen Alicia Keys. I've seen a lot of people that's like, they didn't have a good day that day. But I never seen Prince have one day like where I could say like, I don't know. Anybody can make a mistake, and he made a mistake. He can make mistakes just like anybody could. We all made them. Anybody great, the more you do it, you're going to make mistakes. But Prince was one of the best mistake recovery people I've ever seen because he just could repeat the mistake, and then it wasn't like a mistake. He did it over again, and so it was like he tried to do it. I'd mess up with something, he'd be like, what is that? Do that again. I'm like, do what? What did I do? He's like, no, the thing you just did. I'd be like, huh? But it was just like he had instant replay and could just do it. And I was like, God, dog, that's crazy. That's a talent, man.
That's a talent, right?
That's a talent.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Morris, I got to tell you, man, I know I speak for my brothers here, man. What a pleasure, man, to be able to spend some time with you, man. And, and just, man, just having you take us back, it brings back really fond memories for me. And I'm just hopeful, man, that the audience will be like, wow, we're helping people to get to know this princess a little bit more and, what he was like and what it was like to be in his presence, man. So
absolutely.
And we really,
what's cool, Huck, too, I just want to say this too, Huck, just while I got you though, man, because you see, Huck, all of the people, this is why I love the Revolution Cats, because, I got to go see Prince when I saw the movie and I saw all of the stuff. And so for me, man, as a kid coming from, at the time I was living in Chicago, man, when I went to go see Purple Rain and I go see the stuff, and when that came out, it was such a huge, huge, momentous change in music and the building of a dynasty for Minneapolis. It put Minneapolis on the map in terms of the new music mecca. And so all of you cats was like famous. Even the bodyguards was famous. You
Right.
and Big
Right.
Chick was famous, man. And so people knew who y'all were. It's like who else bodyguards that people knew the name Huck and Chick. It's like y'all had a hamburger. Come to Huck and Chicks. It's like y'all was legends too. So it's like when we got there, man, we knew that y'all was the dudes doing this, and these was the people here, and Dwayne and all the folks, the different people down the line. So for us, man, that was like I got to meet like the rock star of security, all y'all cats, man. And so that was
Yeah.
crazy for cats like me coming into the game.
Mm-hmm.
You were famous too. And so we was like, man, this is crazy. Like, dude, we was like just like some country, like Goma Power, like, golly, that's that dude Hucky. That's from the guys from the security dudes. All right, all right. We was like, ah, dog, this is crazy. And so, man, it's I'm so honored, brother, that I got to meet you back in the day, in the heyday, and at the zenith of Prince's career. Purple Rain was huge, and I told Prince that. I said, Prince, that's the zenith. That's your high, high, high. You got an Oscar, you got Grammys, you got all of the stuff, all of the things that launch you into being a superstar, man. And that's cool. But he took it in stride. It's like, yeah, man, that's we just do the music. That's what we about. And we
Yeah.
just keep it moving. We do that. But it was great for me, man, as a cat that's looking at these things and inspired and said, that's the pirate's life for me. That's what I want to do. It's my destiny. When I saw him, you guys came in December 17, 1982, man, when I saw this show, and I got my ticket from that show to this day. And I said, this is the life for me. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I don't know nobody in Minneapolis. I don't know how to get to nobody, but I know this is what my destiny is.
So
And I was able to do that, man, by God's grace, and was able to manifest that thought process. I didn't even realize that what I was doing until he gave me some books and things later on. Prince had given me some things about, universal laws of attraction and things of that nature, man, and just to go along with my spiritual thing and my spiritual walk. I taught him some things about that stuff. And so it was a learning process, and it was a process of like coming to understand a lot of these things that I needed to know in order to even get to this place. And so, man, that's bro, it's a thing that I think we all in that Prince community, man, we just all were very fortunate to be in the places and then in the time we all came through at the right time, and we did our time, and then I was happy to stand down and let some other kids get an opportunity to do what I did, man. There's other people that came out to you, Huck, to do security. They got a chance to work at that frequency and at that level, man. So it's okay to step down. And let somebody else make some money, see the world, do all of the things that we did, man. It's cool. I was happy for the girls and everything when they got a chance to do. They got to ride the jets and go to work on a Learjet and do all of the things that you associate with being in the rock and roll game. And bro, that's all good, man. It's just like you take and you use the time that the slot that you have, do what you do, learn what you learn, and then pay that forward. Help some other people come up in the game that wants to do what you did. And that's what I'm trying to do now with my little master classes I go and do, man. I try to teach these kids about what it takes to operate with a guy like that and understanding the person that you're working with. Because, like I said, I tell anybody I was the worst keyboard player Prince had. I stayed longer because I understood this dude. I know what it is that I needed to do with regard to him and what he wanted to see happen. I try not to be the problem and try to be the solution. Those types of things, and try to like keep people together, and like the band, and be the clown sometimes and be funny sometimes when people don't feel like laughing, and then try to bring the spirits up. Everybody had a role to do, man, and I think a lot of that court jester stuff was my role. And Prince liked comedy anyway. He liked funny things. He liked funny people. And I think that's where I found my niche. And I was able to like kind of hang on for so long and stay around, because of some of the other things that I could do outside of my keyboard playing, man. So,
well said from a class act, man. Man, we love you, man,
Yes,
and
sir.
we appreciate you.
Appreciate it,
Yes,
brother.
sir.
Thank you so much.
Well, we have a little
Morris.
thing that we like to say at the end here.
Yes, sir.
Kurt, you gonna take us away?
Yes, sir. First of all, Morris, we'd like to plug anything you have coming up down the pipeline. So if you have any links or anything you care to share with us or projects that you're working on.
Yeah, what's really cool is that at First Avenue was very cool. I got a chance to play with Mayor McLean, who was one of the twins, one of the
Yes, we
dancers,
were going to talk about
and
that.
that was phenomenal because, man, she and I,
Mhm.
she just gave me a call one day. She was going through some things, and I told her, I said, hey, just come on down here to the woods. I'm out here in the middle of nowhere in Arkansas. I said, come on to the woods. I got a guest room. You can come and hang, and we can work on this music. Don't worry about no money. Don't worry about no nothing. You just come out and chill, and we're gonna work. And that's what we did. And I'm really proud of the music that we did. I'm proud of the work that we did. I've been working with a few different artists. There's one, yeah, another lady Maya Santiago from Spain and New York, and just just various different people. I've been relinked up with my guy Kip Blackshire, and Kip
Yep.
stays with me, and we've been like working on a bunch of music, man, and doing stuff.
Cool.
So, Brian, I'm very happy with the music. Like Maya's record is going to be phenomenal. I think I'm working with this kid Taj Farrant, the young Australian whiz
Oh,
kid
you're
on the
working with him. Oh,
yeah.
cool. I didn't
I
know
got a
that.
I got a
Awesome.
couple songs that I'm trying to figure out. Hopefully, I can still get him on this project he's working on. He's got a bunch of A-listers hitting with him, Slash, and a bunch of
Shit.
like these killer people that's going to be working on this project. I love this kid. He's a phenomenal artist and
Yeah.
guitar player. I think Prince would have loved him because he's so severe, man. He's so smart and he gets it. He gets it at this young age. And then like these master classes, man, I want to do more of these things where I'm sharing what I've learned from the great one himself, from Prince. He taught us a lot, and I think it's our duty to pay that forward, teach some other kids who want to come up in the game, and just some of the things that it takes to operate on that. Because like we were saying about the earlier thing, a lot of these kids now, man, get this instant gratification thing on social media, TikTok, and all of these different things. They can become overnight sensations. That's the rare thing. It happens, but
Right.
it's like it used to be overnight sensations in back in the day. But for the most part, anybody like Prince, they put in work, man.
Mhm.
You had to do years and years of a lot of hard work to get to the place where they all got to, with Morris and them. I've heard all of the stories. I heard everything that they used to do at the different clubs in Nakarima and all of the places that was around the Twin Cities that they had to like come up and do the battle of the bands and all of those things.
Sure.
That was a rite of passage for most of us
Mm-hmm.
back in the day, is you had
Mm-hmm.
to work hard and like, the competition was fierce. And now everybody could be these bedroom producers and you get famous just because you got a cool backdrop and you can do some stuff on TikTok and some dances or whatever. And that's not to discredit anybody. Some of these people are just bona fide and they're using the platform to do what they need to do, and that's
Yep.
great. Kudos to them and anybody that's able to do it. But hopefully, what I can share is from some things from a great that he taught me and taught a lot of us, and I'd like to see some of my other cats do the same. Sonny is a master bass player. Prince told me like Sonny taught everybody. So Terry Lewis told me the same thing, and it's like Sonny is the last of a dying breed. And I'd like to see Sonny showing these kids how this works and how he did his thing. And those of us who've been down the road, we show other people how to do it, man.
Yes,
And
sir.
and so that they can come away with some of this knowledge, and we continue to proliferate and pass on Prince's knowledge and do the best we can in that regard.
Excellent. Well, if you got a master class coming in the East Coast, let us know. We'll plug it and maybe have you on to talk about
We'll
it
do it,
because
man. My next
we.
one is in Barcelona in October, so I'll go to do one
Oh,
in
I would
October. So that'll
love.
be cool. We're gonna
Awesome.
go back to Spain.
Well, as I always like to say, once again, Morris, thank you for your time. You're always so generous with your time. We really
Thank you,
appreciate you
man.
coming
You know me,
on.
I can run that mouth,
Yes,
boy.
sir.
That's what I
That's
do the
okay.
best.
We love it. We love. Listen, you listen. Ain't nobody top Eric Leeds when it comes to doing that. Let me tell you something. He will give you encyclopedia of music history on all that stuff.
Oh
You
yeah,
know
he's
it.
done a lot though.
Yes, sir. Oh,
Yeah,
he sure has. We
yeah,
love Eric. So
yeah.
I like to say thanks again, Morris, for coming on. Hucky, welcome back to the fold. It's great to
The
have you back
Huckster.
on too. Yes, sir. And as I always like to say before we close each show, a rising tide lifts all boats. Jay?
Yes,
And I
sir.
want to say, Morris, thanks again very much. Especially, we reached out to you last minute. You're very gracious with your time. To
Yes,
Thank
to
you,
sir.
brother.
Kurt's point, so thank you very much for being
Yes, sir.
a
Thank you.
friend of the show and showing us love. And obviously, we have the same for you. I'm sure we're going to be seeing you again. And folks, if you like what you see and heard, please give us a like, a follow, subscribe to our channel. We are on all streaming platforms, so we can continue to bring you this great content great people like Morris Hayes, sharing their knowledge, sharing their stories, sharing their wisdom. We appreciate all the support. Like I like to say at the end of each show, when the universe comes knocking, you have to answer the door. Good night and peace.
Peace.